What does education mean to kids in the United States, and what does it mean to other kids from around the world?
We knew exactly who to interview. We asked some of our friends who have gone to school in the United States their whole lives and others who have not. We really wanted to understand how serious students took education. We knew exactly who to call for a professional point of view. Newcomer Academy.
So we decided to take matters into our own hands and contact Newcomer Academy, a school for immigrants and refugees from around the world to start schooling in the United States. Unfortunately, we were not able to set up a physical interview with anyone from Newcomer, but we were able to find an article about a specific teacher, Scott Wade. We were able to email him and set up a Skype interview. Scott Wade is a teacher at Newcomer who was more than happy to answer a few questions we had about educating minds from around the world. Did it work? Hi, Mr. Wade. Hi.
We're working on it. Hang on a second, yeah.
In our essays, we focused on the cultural, psychological, and economical points on why offering education to immigrants and refugees would benefit our nation as much as the individuals. In the cultural perspective, blending different ideas help expand the knowledge of people around them. Psychologically, new experiences open up pathways for new learning and growth as individuals. Economically, education allows these individuals to pursue what they love by getting jobs, benefiting the United States economy. All these different ideas form into one. Education is the true key to success for everyone.
Some people are very comfortable inside their own walls, like inside their bubble. But some people want to know what's on the other side.
Okay, wait, I have to think about it. What does education mean to me? Okay, I'm ready.
Going to school and learning the most that you can.
Like how you're going to be successful in life.
I think it's how I'll be successful in the future.
Education is extremely important and valuable. Education gets you into college and it helps prepare you for the future.
It's really important.
It's really important to me.
I mean, it means something to me, but it's really boring. I don't know.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Nothing really.
Your mother's gonna see this. I know that I want to go to college, but I'm not sure what I want to study.
I'm going to college and then I don't know, doing a job.
Pursuing a career.
I see myself as a graduate from college. I'm not really sure where I'm going yet, but I do know that I'm interested in sports psychology and I'm taking psychology next year. And I know it's really important to take something in high school to prepare you for the future.
Going to college.
Going to college and becoming famous.
I want to go to college for pole vault and go to the Olympics.
Plan on going to the National Guard and then get some of my credit hours from there and then I guess go to college and become a combat medic.
I'm gonna go to college and become a psychiatrist.
Straight B's.
Hopefully in college.
No.
No.
Yes, I actually do know someone who has dropped out of high school, and right now she's not in the best position at all. I don't think she has a job, and I think she's living alone, and she's also pregnant. Yes.
Yeah, and she's pregnant now.
Yes. Yep.
No.
Yes.
Any dropouts? And if so, what is the most common reason? Like they drop out?
This is my third year at this school. We've had one. And the reason is he was 19 and a half years old and his family needed him to work.
Yeah.
That's the totality of it. They couldn't pay the bills without him, and the question was, are you going to continue going to school? We know you can't go to college, or are you going to get a job to help us keep from getting kicked out of our house?
think a lot of students do, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we don't understand what would happen. We like drag going to school, but some people don't like to go to school.
Yes.
I do think we take it for granted. Personally, I wake up in the morning and I'm just not in the mood to go to school. I don't like how long it is. I don't like the lectures. But in reality, it actually defines your whole future. It defines what college you go to, what your job's going to be, your career, and that's all built up from your high school scores and everything else that you learn.
Yes.
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 Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Sort of.
As you just heard, the answers were split. Many students said education was important, but some of them said it was not. All of the students said that they would like to attend college one day, but how is that possible without taking education seriously? For the students who said education means nothing to them, why waste time in college? Students also said they knew people who gave up on their education, but later are in positions they never thought they'd be in. Almost all students we interviewed said they noticed they took education for granted. Taking something so valuable like education for granted creates closed-minded people. Here in the United States, it is understood to go to school, but in other countries, they have very limited opportunities.
Except for, I never believed that like the lion and the rabbit could get along okay, but anyway. What's next?
From a different perspective, from a student that is born in the U.S., it's completely different because we've been used to the same thing, seeing the same people all our lives throughout school. So hearing about different people from different countries, places, sitting together,
Coming in.
yeah, it's very different to us.
Along with talking to Mr. Scott Wade from Newcomer Academy, we also talked to our very own Profe, Mr. Aiken, here at North Oldham High School, who used to work at a school in Nicaragua. Profe asked if he could not be videotaped.
Hello, my name is Mr. Aiken, and my job before coming here to North was at a place called the American Nicaraguan School in Managua, Nicaragua, and I was there.
The first question we have for you is, what changes did you see when kids first came to the school versus when they left to graduate?
Well, first of all, most of the kids at that time, they were kids that had been in exile, their families left Nicaragua during the revolution. Just that I see when they started and when they left. Well, there's always a maturing. Kids come in there's kids still, but they're nice to deal with. There were, just like anywhere else, there were a lot of dysfunctional families. A lot of kids were living with just their mother or just their father, and it was, depending on how their financial situation was, because it was private schools, you got to pay, and it got to the point where they were paying something like $500 a month, and that's a lot of money for Nicaragua. They did everything they could to stay there. I would say the vast majority were really nice. And they were from all over the world.
Cuando tú primero veniste a esta escuela, ¿cómo se afiguró tu futuro y cómo cambió?
Cuando llegué aquí, esto fue todo nuevo para mí porque conocí nueva gente y también conocí sus nueva cultura y la diferencia de que hay varias tipos de personas que son de diferentes razas.
¿Cómo te llevas con los alumnos?
Muy bien. No tengo muchos amigos en esta escuela, pero hay muchos que me conocen y me llevo bien con ellos porque ellos me hablan bien y yo les hablo bien y así nos llevamos bien.
Primero llegaste a esa escuela, ¿no tuviste dudas? ¿Cómo no dudaste de esa escuela?
Tuve dudas porque cuando llegué aquí no conocía nada. en México las clases son diferentes y cuando vienes aquí todo es diferente. Y para mí el aprender a hablar inglés era lo más difícil y me ha tomado mucho tiempo y me está tomando mucho tiempo adaptarme todavía a hablar. Pero todavía hay dudas porque todavía estoy en la situación en la que estoy aprendiendo todavía.
¿Tienes problemas al día de hoy?
Sí. Por ejemplo, estoy todavía como aprender a hablar inglés y a comunicarme con otras personas.
¿Una diferencia de la escuela de aquí en América que las escuelas en México?
Yo creo que la diferencia es que la escuela en México es más bajo en tecnología y otros recursos y aquí es más avanzado. La escuela cuenta con más tecnología y en México no. Cuando yo tenía que ir a la escuela tenía que caminar y aquí solo toma el bus y llegas a la escuela, pero en México es diferente. Eso es lo que hace diferente.
The normal time frame is a school year, 1 year. So, however, that's not always the same. If a student arrives in the spring, for example, if a student arrives this week, which is entirely possible, then they would come for the rest of next year.
Okay.
Yep. To answer your question, we have 3 levels at our school, and one is for students who have what we call interrupted education. Interrupted means that because of some war or some migration or some devastation in their country or their region, they missed some years of school. The second category is people who lived in countries where they did not have interrupted education, however, they didn't learn any English. And the third category is people who learned some English. And in the same way that, do you guys take any other foreign language?
Spanish.
Do you study?
We all just
Spanish.
Okay, so you go to class 1 hour a day or something, but could you really just show up in Spain and get along okay?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, you couldn't. So that would be the way with our other kids, is what they would be at a country and they would maybe have 1 to 4 hours of English class in the same way that you have Spanish class, and that's our other. So when they first arrive, many times they cannot answer this simple question, which is, what is your name? Or what country are you from? And they look around to hope somebody in the room is their language group to run over and interpret. However, they begin to assimilate very quickly, and by this time, which is March, they are reading at probably 7th or 8th grade level. They're having conversations in English, and they're writing, but still, say the background that you 3 would have, for example, in science, that would allow you to understand chemistry, or in history, that would allow you to understand world civilization. You catch my meaning? Mm-hmm. That vocabulary, for example, biology or chemistry, words like Pythagorean theorem or persecution or photosynthesis, for example, they may fully understand what those 3 things mean, but without having the ability to express.
Yeah.
But our job is to really push them as fast as we can, as high as we can, so that they're ready to enter their next school year.
And we have another question. It says, what process does it take to enroll refugees/immigrants into the school program?
It starts with the president and the Congress, and they will allow a certain number of refugees from a certain country. For example, President Obama gave the number 10,000 Syrians. That's changed since we have a new president, but in the meantime, so the United States State Department, which is the Pentagon, will agree to accept those 10,000 as long as there are 10,000 Kentucky Refugee Ministries has an idea of like literally how many open apartments are there. The fact that we have the Newcomer Academy, can we take that many more students? We have limited capacity too. Are there job training? So Louisville will say, for example, the State Department, we can take 400 Syrians. New York might say, we'll take 3,000. And so for every single country, there's a number. And so Kentucky Refugee Ministries literally meets those people at the airport, like a welcoming committee with a van, and they take them straight to a house which already has furniture, forks and knives, food in the refrigerator. And then the next day, they drive the kids to the ESL office, and they sign up. And the next day, they're in my room.
Okay, wow.
It's like, hello, I just got off the airplane 2 days ago. Where the heck am I? What is Kentucky? But so they walk in, and then at that point, everybody else in the room is trying to learn. Like, I can't just stop and say, okay, we start all over because we got a new student today. It's like, no, the train is going really fast. Run as fast as you can, jump on, hang on, and get a seat, and then we go. And that's kind of how it starts. Wow. And then my job is to, as quickly as possible, assess their needs, their levels in English, and keep moving. So we had a steady rise up till last year. In May, we passed 1,000.
Wow.
Just to give you some context, in 2005, we started with 320.
Wow.
We ended the year at more than 700. We started then we started the next year at 600. We got up to 1,000. But then we changed presidents, and things really changed politically, particularly on the southern border, but also with refugees from Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. And so we now, even though last year we ended at more than 1,000, this year we just now passed 600. The government's position on immigrants has a direct impact on our population. So you understand that they have to take care of their parents, and
oh yeah,
and in their case, their parents have only been here like 6 months, and in most cases, it's from a really traumatic situation, like like their house was hit by a missile or something.
Yeah. Wow.
So when they first get here, they stand up to answer a question. Then they realize that nobody does that. They all stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance, which I don't even make them do that. They just do it. But as far as interaction, like if you walked into our cafeteria, you would see all kinds of kids from all kinds of countries sitting together and speaking English with each other. You could have a girl from Somalia sitting next to a girl from Mexico, sitting next to a boy from Syria, and they're all together. And
That's pretty amazing.
That's very heartwarming.
Yeah.
I guess kind of like Noah's Ark. But so imagine that the kids in the room. So that like I'll tell you, one of my classes, the first row is Swahili, Wolof, Arabic, French, Mauritanian, Yemeni, Spanish. That's the first row. And so they put 25 of those in a room, most of whom don't know any English to begin with.
Yeah.
Their life is just it's survival, and they depend. Their families all depend on them. So, like, you think how fast you might be able to learn Spanish compared to, say, if your grandma was trying to learn Spanish. So most of their moms and dads don't speak any English. So once they're able to communicate in any way, like, hello, my name is, then they are expected to be the translator for things like doctor bills and tax files.
If you really think about it, Newcomer Academy is an American school. Teachers like Scott Wade only know English, but these students who come in bring various languages that these teachers have no knowledge on. These kids are starting from kindergarten, learning at the ages of 16, 17. Just like you all take Spanish, Mandarin, French, and so on at 16, 17, they are starting from basics, but later on catch up very quickly. But get this. By the end of 1 year, they are already reading 8th grade level books and understand conversations around them. It takes years for us to develop that knowledge with another language other than English. Just shows how hard these students work to achieve their education. Education to them is the key to success, which it should be for everyone.